Hello, this is Gerald van Was. I will continue with my investigation of the combination of letters of L and N, the sound N, which is not even in my system perfectly, but it gives you the idea of a very confined focus. And I will explain it a little bit better, but it can still be confusing what it really means, how much it actually also gives you meaningfulness of focus, because it's mainly about focus and about how much you are able to keep your focus. And I will add some extra letters there also from I had already link, so I will add also link and links and linger to it. And so let's continue from where I was, and I will resume also what we really had at the end of resume of what the combination of L with N really is expressing as a focus. And here they are, so the L, the N and the G combined. I have a scheme in the background which helps me to also to remind me of where the focus is really lying, where the emphasis is in the focus. It is a 3x3 three dimensions of sorts of focus in space, time, and in the time-space continuum, I would say, where the focuses lie and where they are emphasized in its own balance. And it takes a while before to get used to that, but I have, of course, a lot of videos that you will get used to it. And the resume of it is that the L lies in the spatial frame, so we focus upon something which is growing there, which is growing in material, and we follow that up there, or we notice it. That's actually the L. The N continues there because something is formed, means also it's formed in a time frame. The time frame is not focused upon as a way of seeing it, but how did it develop? Where did it develop to? Not focusing on that in L, but with N, we do that. So in the same direction that already is forming something, we also follow it up with N to see where it is actually evolving to. And with the G, it's the feedback process. It also says how well we could follow the process. And if we could follow it up well, we can see its interactions. And that's what the N plus G is doing. So it is the resume of this whole process of the physical letters, because the have consonants, vowels and consonants. The consonants are there to describe the physical process that you can describe with these letters. So what is the resume actually? So you have the L, the focus upon the things that are formed. The N is the focus which goes further from this form to see where it is forming towards, to which direction, to which form it really is developing, to which development it is going to. And with the G, it focuses upon the context of this destiny of what is formed. That is really basically the resume of this combination of L with N. And in this foundation, this structure, we could also derive all the words which had a combination of L with N. The advantage of this N plus G into one sound is that it also makes a more predictable goal, so that you see, okay, there is really a hanging together process, that something is forming towards a direction, and we can follow it. We can follow it also within that whole process. So there's a push into a formation process, and there's a push back, and we can follow this push and push back. This whole process is, we can keep on following it. That's the logic we can keep together. All the words have that aspect in them as well. So it is, they have a certain control over that growth process. That's what the L and N is about. Can you see that into the letters? That was my investigation. It had long, which is, we had a few words in English, you had a word in Dutch as well. You had the long as the Dutch words was the hanging together process for the in and out breathing. You saw you had in a way a contained idea of, yes, we can understand the process, where it's going and where it's coming back. So we had that control over that process. So in that way, O is process. It's that focus on the process that we are able to control in that way. In that way you could understand it. Yeah, you had then, of course, the English words, which is more focused with the lung. So that is with a more focus upon that object which contains this process and which something is in the in development. So it is the same thing. So it is still available there. It's described there with these letters. Then you also had this English word of long, which is the same thing as almost the same thing as the Dutch word lang, which is more a focus upon the predictable following up of measurements, that something is long, has a certain length and so on. That is also a countable process in a way, so it is still recognizable. I'm not saying that it is a perfect match yet, but this idea of the letter focuses, plays a part. Lang, then you also have, of course, the Chinese words as well, so lang, ling, and lang in the context of reflection, because that was the association of reflection. It is bright, it's clear, it has a visibility. A lang in there's another word again as a function, status function, where you also probably can count on. I can understand how it still fits as a focus, that you have a direction, something goes in direction, it has a feedback process, you control this feedback process. That is actually what is said in the letter combinations. And then you have ling as a predictable and measurable order. But I will go a bit further from ling to other words like link and links and linger. E in my system also is about context seeking. It's a context which you can only derive after a comparison, so that you at the end in seeing what you all have to compare, that you really can say at the end, okay, now I know where the time and space fits together, and I have a good proportion of knowing and of understanding of what it is at that specific moment, at that specific time, which is different all the time. It's actually a description of certain conditions, which in each situation are having a slightly different proportions, but you can count on it that at the right time and right place they show these conditions. That's what the letter E is actually describing in that system. So you have a context together so that you can make it work and all the conditions are right at the right time and right time and space. So you had of course a few words. You had ling, which is described in this character. The top character is if in these frames it also fits with the frame of context. So my context is the working frame. The square is, for us, it's like the circle. It is the working square, the working field, which actually says, okay, this is my working frame. And what are the conditions for it in the timing context there as well? It's that I have the right power and strength for it to make, of course, things work there. So that's the ling part there that describes that. Those conditions, they are described also in the letters as well. And you have the meaningfulness of this word, which means in addition or separately. In a way, it is actually saying, like, yeah, if you have a different working frame, a different context, every time a new working frame, a new area in which you work, it will work there. It has you know what to do there, and it works separate, well in its own. That's more or less the thing that you can derive from it, also from the letter combinations. Okay, but when you add the letter K to it, which I do here now. The K makes a focus in the spatial area, a little bit off center, almost often it is in a diagonal sense also, so it is off center in such a way that you say, I don't know if I can keep my focus straight in this center. I'm not so sure anymore what to make of it. Will it still work in the end? So that doubtful thing is there immediately in my centering focus. So the additional K will always give an extra layer of doubtful attention. So where we had ling, of uncertainty, of a predictability, that we know the whole process what is going on, and all the letters and all the words that had the ling sounds in them had a predictable interaction in there, that we say, okay, we can do something with it. The K breaks that a little bit apart. That doesn't mean that this predictability is gone, but it also allows a doubtful process to it as well, because you give it a certainty, but is it actually very certain? Because there is a doubtfulness which creeps into it, which crawls into it, which as the E doesn't say where exactly is the moment. It's all fitting it from start to finish. It fits at a certain point, but there's a doubtfulness as well. This extra layer of doubtful attention also says that the whole outcome, which actually says like our attention is predictable and so on, but there is a doubtfulness of, but where it starts from, is that really, can we count on it? How it works, can we count on it? Where it leads to, will we be able to count on it? There's a doubt of attention that it will be finalized in the end, so you give it an extra attention. The first meaningfulness of link in English is, of course, you make the link and you give it attention to say, okay, we know how it hangs together, how it works and so on, but how does it work? Well, I'm not so sure. Not only like we have a little bit doubt of, is it always working at each point well, it's just like, where does it come from? Where does it go to? How is it developing further? We're not so 100% sure if this predictable process is really where it will in the end leads to, because where does it come from? How is it developing? Where does it go to? We're not sure. And that's the link. That's the first meaningfulness of link. Dutch word link has even an extra connotation on that doubtfulness, because it also says, we also have in two meanings, the link as in English, but it also can say it is pretty link, means it is risky, it is dubious. So we're not really sure if the starting, where it starts from, where it goes to, that everything is really of such a degree that it really has such a great foundation. It's not that because we count on it and we can see what it is, that the foundations are really that great. And then you come to the next word addition, the letter S, and the letter S is to it has then also this combination of, we have a certainty in how it is formed and that we can follow it up and we see the whole process, but the K in the end gives it a doubtfulness. This S is, which we look at the effect it will have. So despite all its dubious effects, which can be at the beginning, the doubtful start, the doubtful progress, the doubtful future, we still say, no, we know the process, we know with what we are busy with, we know with what we are, our ambitions, we know our ambitions, we know what kind of attitude we perform in there. We will perform it, even although it is possible that everything which we involve here, from starting aspects, from progress, from what we are going to, is a bit doubtful, and we should actually pay extra attention to it. And this is the kind of links that you make, which is in this case not just the links in English, but it's also a different word. This word is a Dutch word, links, which actually also is another synonym for left. It's that left, focusing on the left. This left, I have described this a few more times, that the words do not, like left and right in I think maybe, I don't know in how many languages, but they're not really focusing completely upon a direction which is from left to right, because it's all contextual. So how can you know what is right and left? It's contextual, but the context of the left wing then as well, just like in how you use left in all your kind of imaginations, says exactly this. It's ambitious, it's idealistic. You think that you control everything because you know what you're busy with, you know the project, you know it's idealism, how what you could get with it, and so on. That's the whole process. But you actually, everything which you involve in there, in the left wing thinking, could be a bit doubtful that it will work with that beginning. It's maybe even a bit doubtful that with your methods, and it even has a doubtful future where it goes to. That's all part of the attention. So you need to give it attention of a doubt if you want to work well with the left wing thinking as well. The benefit of the doubt is here much more important than your idealisms, because everything which you will attract will also be somewhat doubtful, so it will need also this extra attention. Shall it also work the whole time in this whole process? It needs that attention. So if you want to work with that left wing links, that doubtfulness is one of the most important things to keep open in your attention if you want to be realistic with all the things that you're doing. And then you come, of course, to the next word, which is linger, which will also, which you of course know, do linger on. The G there is that aspect which you already have with the ling. So you had that certainty information, you had the feedback process as well. So ling on its own, it's good because you follow it up in that feedback process. So you know that there is that attention to the feedback process as well. But the E will add something to it. It will add an extra process to it. Linger on is, of course, that extra process. That extra process which will connect itself again in the same way. So it will linger on. It's easily understandable from the letter positions. It lingers on, so it links on to even more connections, probably in a similar way, but it will do that with that kind of focus and attention. So just a small resume again of a few letters that we had before. Just if I leave out the m sound and you all have li, what do we really get? I will resume it, so about the meaningfulness of letters. The L is just only about what is forming itself. What does it show in forms? E means where are the positions in the time and space context. So here you do not follow up where the things are going. You only see I have a form here, and this form fits somewhere in it. So you do not follow its destiny. It is there somewhere in it. Very neutral. Li, one of the meaningfulness is just inside. It fits like a pattern into the working field. It fits in there You don't follow up the whole process there, but you know it, okay, it fits there. Following up in timing, that's another aspect, of course. If you really follow it up with the to it as well, so then you follow up, where is it going to, where is it really leading to, then you measure it a little bit better and you see, okay, how is it evolving towards that place where it is. That's a much more interactive process. There you will can be able to see its measurements. There you will be able to see what kind of order will be used for it and in it, and how the order is needed and how the order is performed, both of them. And that makes it maybe already a little bit more understandable just by this small addition of Li and Ling, of course, as well. Okay, I hope this was a good contribution. It wasn't the easiest of my videos, especially because it's really about a focus and how much we are dealing with a focus. And that's not really about very much about physical things, but it is about much more about attention. What kind of attention do we have? What kind of attention do we give? And what kind of attention do we need? They are quite well expressed with a combination of L and Eng and Ng. Okay, thanks for watching. Some books there as you like, some Facebook page if you like, some YouTube channel if you like. You can subscribe to it as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.